Hey, what's going on, everybody? Ryan Knuppel here, Knup Sports Show, episode 242. How you doing today? Hope you're all doing great. We're back with another show and have another amazing guest for you today. Actually, another repeat. We're kind of going through a flow where we're getting some repeat people back with new roles and new products, and I'm excited to dive into today's episode as well. Let's see, what do we have for some housekeeping? Got back from SBC. SBC was an amazing show in Fort Lauderdale. Thought they put on an amazing event there. It was really good to speak to a lot of you that listen and watch this show in person. So thank you for popping by, saying hello. I always appreciate that for sure. Hopefully you enjoyed the show and got a lot out of it. I know we did for sure. It was different not being in New York, but it was nice being in Florida, especially me being in Orlando. So that was kind of fun. Enjoying the postseason. We're in the finals of NBA and the finals of NHL. So we're right at that kind of the tail end of those seasons. Then we head into the summer where we're a little lighter on U.S. facing sports, but we'll see what happens. So, all right, without further ado, let's bring on our guest today. Today we have Alan Casey. Alan's back as a repeat guest with TXOdds. Alan, thanks for joining again.
Great to be back, Ryan. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. Cannot wait to dive in here. For those of you that, typically we'll dive into Alan's past and talk all about him, but he's been on the show. He's already been there, done that. So,
himself out of the way.
Episode 206, and you can get all the background about Alan. So go back and watch that and make sure. But Alan, how you doing today? What's up? Are you camped out in Ireland right now, or where are you at?
Yeah, here in Dublin, Ireland. Yeah, we're getting kind of Florida-like weather here. We've got sun for hours, then it lashes rain for about 30 minutes, and then back to sun. So we always take that.
Nice. And you got to visit Florida here recently for SBC as well, correct?
Yeah, we had a great show. Yeah, we had our first foray back into having a stand at these conferences. So we had a Trev's bar open, and it was a great success. I know you tried to stop by briefly, and the bar was, 40 deep. So it was a big success.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was trying to go by and say hello to a few people, and it was just like a nightmare mess. And I'm like, people everywhere, which is a great thing to have at a booth. And I was like, okay, I'll do that later. I'll come by at a quieter time. So you got to go before the happy hours start, right?
Yeah, exactly. Although I think at this one it was just happy hour all the time. But we're doing it again in Lisbon, so I think we might narrow down to the happy hour because just it was a lot of beer handed out. But we wanted it to be a meeting spot. We wanted people to be able to come hold meetings there. Obviously, simple enough concept. If you hand out beer, people will come. But then, we got to introduce ourselves to people, so it worked very well from kind of that networking standpoint.
Awesome, amazing. So, Alan, like I said, about a year ago, you were on the show representing All Sported, and so I'd love for you to give us an update of kind of what has transpired since then and where TXOdds has come about, and just kind of give us the backstory. Starting with that.
Yeah, I love to. So I think when we spoke last year, it was mainly running All Sportage. That's kind of our horse racing products, a separate business out of Ireland here. Still running that, but I think maybe it was your show that got me the promotion. Pretty stepped into TXOdds then. TXOdds were launching a new office in Chicago. We were going in stadium college sports, scouting basketball and football. So with that came, a whole new raft of customers to talk to, new commercials. So really I was coming in to give them an extra dig out on the commercial side. So that kind of, that Thomas, our previous CCO, he became CRO, so he could kind of focus on America for a while. So that's what we've been doing. And then, kind of stepping into, more of that kind of marketing side, helping out there, getting, our first stand up and running there in SBC. We've tidied up our website. But we're basically, TXOdds used to just be a company whereby a lot of word of mouth. We had most of the tier ones already. A lot of the big syndicates knew who we were. So we kind of just, we used to operate like that. But now we've got new products launched. So we kind of had to market more and tell people what we're doing.
Yeah, so let's talk about what you're doing. So just for people that may not be familiar with TXOdds, I know the name, kind of explains it a little bit, but let's kind of dive in. I'll pull up the website. Just at a high level, give us some idea of what you guys do and, what some of the products are that are alongside All Sported there with TXOdds.
Yeah, so TXOdds has been around. TXOdds turns 25 this year. So basically around since online gaming started. So we're the OG odds provider. I think a few more have spun up in recent years in the US. And that's basically started off, it was, a pre-match odds, because that's basically all there was. And then it was just an XML2 feed. Then we added a push API for in running soccer being our main product. And also we were the first people to bring the Asian football lines to the European markets. That's kind of really where we saw a lot of growth. And then last few years, we've built our kind of legacy free platform called Fusion, which just enables us to do a lot more stuff, including, it delivers all our odds data and all now our live college data. And we can integrate third parties for people. So it's kind of it's becoming a one-stop shop for everything you need to run a book.
That's amazing. Yeah, you said it, the OG of odds and all of that, and yeah, you're seeing a lot of odds companies and things like that pop up. How are you guys hanging in there, right? How are you guys seeing? Because you're seeing the industry change, you're seeing the industry grow. How are you guys competing in this world now, where there's just so much noise and so much going on? Obviously, that's why you're there, to help grow the business and go. But give us some idea of how you guys are doing as a business, and just how you're seeing changes over the years through this business.
Yeah, I mean, from an odds provider perspective, I think we've been doing it well for a long time. We've kind of experienced all the challenges that either these new guys are facing or are about to face, and kind of know how to handle it. So we kind of pride ourselves and are known as like the lowest latency odds feed. Because speed is everything in this game, but then alongside that, it's the consistency of our pricing. It's the accuracy of the pricing, so to make sure the prices are right. We have our own internal quality control teams. We're not just grabbing odds and sending it down a pipe. And then we're consistent. We have 99.95. I think we SLA to percentage uptime. So touch wood, we've never experienced anything bad. So it's kind of just that consistency of services, accurate odds, and they're delivered quickly. So that's our bread and butter. That's what separates us from the competition. And then in terms of the market changing, obviously the US opening up was big for everyone, and there was a big rush in there. Our US sports product was always strong anyway, but I guess that's kind of where the marketing thing came in, as we won't reference, but all these other odds providers kind of traditionally it was only Don Best that people knew about, and these new providers came out. So I guess now is just kind of getting our name back out there. SBC was the first step of that.
Yeah.
Then with the college data, we just noticed that was an underserved market. So it was, okay, there's no real in-running data other than, your scoreboard stuff. There was nothing people could innovate on and build kind of player props or, kind of micros, those kind of betting markets. So we said we'd go in and do it. So I think this time last year we didn't have the office, and now we finished our first season. We had customers live and paying for March Madness. We covered over 2,500 college basketball games this season, and next season we're going to do, I think, over 4,000. So that's been a really exciting project. A lot of moved very quickly, a lot happened in a short space of time, and we kind of have a lot of big improvements already in the pipeline for season 2.
Yeah, on that note, of underserved markets, what other sports do you think, or have you guys talked about that could potentially be underserved markets that you may want to dive into from an odds side? Are there others that you guys have targeted that maybe are in the pipeline, just not quite there yet?
So the tool, we basically built our tool from scratch. So the big problem with some of the other providers, they were basically taking a soccer tool and then trying to kind of rework it so that it can deliver basketball and American football data. So it just doesn't work very efficiently. They can make it work, but that's why the data wasn't great. So we started from scratch on that, thinking about, okay, we had people who have worked in soccer tools before, but also people who worked in data in the US with kind of media data providers, some of the other data providers for betting, and just go, okay, what's the best way we can build these things out? So now we've done that with soccer as well, just to keep everyone busy. But the reason we went into college sports was because we wanted to improve the product. Soccer has kind of been done well, but now with the tool built, that tool could transfer to ice hockey if we needed it. But I think the big one from speaking to people at SBC, that seems to be even more underserved than football and basketball is college baseball. Yeah, we had conversations there whereby, I don't know who has a radar, someone they're covering a game. There might be the number one ranked team playing the number two ranked team on ESPN, but the only games being offered on the feed is, some other, not non-ranked teams. And that's just because, the unavailability of scouts. So that's definitely one we will look at. Just because, again, it's an opportunity. If we can go in, deliver a better data set, high quality data, then we think it'll generate betting.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's a great one. I mean, that's not one that you typically would think about, right? But I think, yeah, definitely underserved because we're not thinking about it. So I think that's
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
if it's on ESPN, you should be able to bet on it, surely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's totally cool. Well, awesome. So what's in the pipeline? What else are you guys doing besides just growing out new sports, trying to get clients? Are you guys typically only working with operators, or are you working with media companies as well? Talk about your client base as well, that you're kind of looking to grow into.
Yeah, so on the college data, or TX scores as we call it, that's mainly operator level. So we've kind of nearly everyone in the US has had a look at it. So that was kind of a big success year one, is to try and get people to look at it. The data quality, stood up. Like everyone who looked at it has been impressed. So we've done, I would say, very well there in getting kind of uptake on the product. So that's kind of our main on the score side. And then we're still working away on odds is the bread and butter of the business. So that's still full steam ahead, where that's always kind of new customers onboarding. Spoke to a few syndicates we would never have met before at SBC. We do cater to syndicates as well. So that would kind of be the traditional. Odds would have been operators, syndicates, and scores kind of pure operators. We also have done a partnership with Underserved Sports on providing kind of price management services for soccer, American football, basketball, and cricket. So I think they would be, well, they would say it, or probably most people would know kind of the background of that company, would know that they're kind of the kind of foremost of market making in the world and being able to liability management. So so those products are very exciting, especially with the World Cup now next year. We've been talking to a couple of people over there about having a supercharged soccer product to offer the US market. So that would be really exciting to see that go live.
Keep forgetting the World Cup's coming. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah,
I always love when that comes around. It just adds. I'm not a huge soccer fan, but it adds such a just different dynamic around the sport that it's just it brings me into it. Right? It's great.
Yeah. You haven't gone down to see Messi yet, no?
No, I haven't. I actually haven't done that. We almost did when we were down there. We almost thought about going to a game, but no. And they play here in Orlando some as well. I think they play Orlando. So maybe soon. Maybe soon. We'll see. Just not my thing. I'm more of a basketball, baseball, football guy, but
yeah, fair. I was at the Knicks Pacers game there last week. I did a trip to New York last week, so game cool. 5 awesome. Game 6 not so much.
Wow, that'd be a fun atmosphere though. That series is just crazy.
Yeah, I hadn't been in the Garden for I think over 10 years. I used to be over there a lot. My dad used to live there, so I'd been to the Garden a lot, but not for a long time. And they obviously haven't been competitive for a long time. So that atmosphere in there is just different when the Knicks are good.
Good for you. Well, Alan, I don't have a lot more questions for you, but I want to open it up to you. What else did we miss? What else did you want to talk about? What other things did you have on your mind here that you wanted to share today?
I think we've hit on a lot of the big things. Look, it's kind of, I guess, accurate data delivered quickly, consistently, and that does make a difference. It's not something the human eye can see, but for operators, they plug us in and then they look back 6 months later and they go, "Whoa, margins jumped by 1-2%." Because it's the not making the pricing errors, it's the not making mistakes, and they're the things that do erode your margins. So. I think people can find me LinkedIn and reach out. Those Lacerda products, as we're calling the elite products, they're very exciting. They're basically, built to take large volumes, like high volume bets. So I know in the UK, what we saw was, a new book opened and they try to restrict a lot of customers and basically just keep the recreational flow. In the US, I think it's gone a little bit that way. There's a lot of account limiting, whereas these guys, they don't limit down, they limit up. So you go from whatever 10, 20K a bet, and then they limit up, into the Asian soccer market. So that's what they're used to, is taking big bets and being able to return good margins on them. So yeah, I think I'd be very excited to see that go live in the US, because I think that could be, the popularity of that would be huge.
That's awesome. That's great. Well, they can find you on LinkedIn, and they can find you at the next event in Lisbon, right? Will you be in Lisbon?
We're there. We'll be there. Yeah, Trev's Bar again. I think we will actually we'll have real live Guinness on tap at this one.
Nice.
We couldn't get the right gas in Fort Lauderdale. They had the keg systems and everything, but you need a 70-30 gas for Guinness. So I think we've been assured we will have that in Lisbon. But I think, yeah, those taps will be only turned on for a happy hour or a happy 2 hours, I think, every day, because I mean, I was in behind the bar for about 2 hours there at Lisbon. So I think we need to have in Miami, need to have a few more meetings. But no, I enjoyed it. I think my second career after retirement would be behind a bar somewhere. Maybe a nice golf club.
I love that. Well, I'm still a game time decision for Lisbon myself, but if I make
you have to go.
I'll make sure to stop by, and we got to make sure to say hello again in person. And Alan, I always appreciate you being on. Any last words? Anything for the crowd before we go?
No, I think I've said enough.
Awesome.
Thanks again for having me, Ryan.
Good luck with everything, and I can't wait to have you on a third time and talk about the next evolution of the product. So
looking forward to talking about part 3 and us dominating the World Cup there in America.
Love it. Absolutely. Thanks, Alan. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Ryan. See ya.
Bye. All right, that was Alan Casey of TXOdds, one of the good ones. Second time on the show, so make sure to go back and listen to 206. 206, you can find that. Just do a quick search on Knup Sports or on YouTube or wherever you're listening or watching this to kind of get the backstory of Alan and kind of what he's been up to. Hopefully enjoyed that one. That's 242 in the books. We have 243 actually coming out shortly after. So we have a bunch lined up for the next couple months. If you do want to be on the show, or you know somebody that wants to be on the show, please send them my way. I'm Ryan Knuppel. You can find me on all the different channels, usually at KNUP Knup, or at any of the shows locally here in the United States, and maybe in Lisbon. We'll see. All right, that's all I got for you today. Take care. Stay safe. Have a good one. Bye-bye.